Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the broadcast. I'm your host, Suze, and with me, as always, are my lovely truth-seeking co-hosts, Tammy and Ash. Ladies, how are you doing this evening?
I'm feeling pretty patriotic, actually.
Oh, that's always nice.
Indeed.
I am good.
I noticed that none of you bitches are excellent. Good. Keep it that way.
I was gonna say it, and then I was like, no, I'm not doing it.
I'm so over it.
You're
Yeah.
so over it. That's my word anyways. Fuck you guys. We can't take it. Also with us is our young Jamie, rolling my joints and baking my brownies. Jamie, a.k.a. Dave. How are you doing, my friend? I hope you don't mind. I added a brownie baking task in for you today.
Fuck you, excellent.
Fuck you, excellence mine.
Right. Up for grabs, I claimed it.
Ooh, you
Well, fine,
diverged from
fine.
swell.
Yes. I thought you were always swell.
No,
Yeah.
excellent was up for grabs. I'm jumping on that shit.
All right. You can be excellent today. That's
Thank
fine.
you.
As long as you bake my brownies. And I want 7 joints rolled by the end of the episode.
No problem.
Let's also welcome our guests for this evening from Canada's own Big Puff podcast. Welcome our friends Lex and Bch. How are you fine Quebecers doing today?
What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
Welcome.
Nous sommes excellents!
Oh.
Mais oui, du Québec!
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, guys. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
We're stoked to be here. Yay.
Well, Ash, you said you were feeling very patriotic. Does that have anything to do with our recent Canada Day?
Sure does.
And how did we all celebrate?
I decked my boat out like a racist and put flags all over it. And we got to boat out to see the horrible climate changing fireworks that are just ruining the world.
You fucking climate denier.
It was
How dare you.
glorious. I loved it.
Sounds awesome. I celebrated in a very Portuguese fashion. I am of Portuguese background, and the Euro game was on, Portugal versus Slovenia. So we went all to my brother's house, and we were Portuguese for the day, not Canadian. How did everybody else celebrate Canada Day? Or did you? Or did you say, fuck Canada?
I went to my mom's.
That's always fun. Was she watching CNN?
No,
No.
Ooh.
Shocker.
I know. No, she's like, I think she's starting to come around. I don't want to hold my breath,
What? It's about fucking time.
right? But no, she's coming around. And we got talking about human trafficking at supper time because that's a great dinner time conversation.
Of course. That's always fun.
And she actually defended me. I didn't need defending, to be clear. Everybody was like, yeah, it's a problem. But one of the people was like, I didn't know it was this bad. And my mom's like, it is so bad. And she like just went off. And I was like, go, mom. And she's like, and it's all rich old men.
Of course. It's
I was
always
like,
the rich old
"Oh,
men.
is this happening?
Well, that's awesome.
This
Yep.
is amazing. Maybe we can have her on the podcast sometime.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
When she finally fully awakens and becomes a recovering liberal, we will have her on.
I'm waiting for that day.
I can welcome her to the club.
Right? You guys will bond over being two
Yeah,
recovered
I
liberals.
know.
And
We can go through all the
And-
psyops.
I told her about Chris Ingvoldson.
I saw that on Twitter. I'm
Yeah.
very proud of you.
And she was
Nice.
just like, what? Yeah, it's great. Anyways, that's my Canada Day story.
Did you tell her who you are on Twitter yet and that she blocked you?
No.
And unblocked you? No,
Fuck
you're not ready.
no.
Not ready for that yet.
No, no.
Oh man, Lex Bch, what did you guys do for Canada Day?
Well, I definitely didn't watch any rigged soccer.
Boom.
So I'm break it to you, Suze. That shit.
Whatever.
So didn't watch that shit. But I did enjoy watching Gord Downey rise up from the grave at a Canada Day celebration. So, hey, man, he still lives on. He still lives on in Canada Day concerts. So watching a little.
Wait, what do you mean? What did I miss?
Oh, it was a fake Tragically Hip band at the Canada Day celebration in my area. So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I thought for a moment MK Ultra. Gordon, but nah, it wasn't him.
I always thought Tragically Hip was tragically terrible, to be honest. But everybody, don't kill me for saying that. Holy shit!
Oh no.
Poor Credit in Mississauga also had a fake Tragically Hip band playing.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow, they were all over the place, eh?
It's true.
What did you do, Lex?
I went to a good old-fashioned family pool party.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
There you
that's what
go.
ours turned into the same thing.
Good times were had for sure.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad everybody was their racist, bigoted selves on Canada Day. That's awesome. Very proud of you all. Today we're gonna do a little freestyling. Those episodes are kind of my jam. But first, Lex Bch, you two have been hosting your own podcast called the Big Puff Podcast out of Quebec. And I believe you're coming up close to 2 years now. I could be wrong, but I think you're close to 2 years. Could you tell our listeners a little bit about your show and what kind of motivated you two to get it started?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're right. I think it's been 2 years. It'll be 2 years this month, I think. And we're also
Right.
coming up on episode 100, I believe, as well.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome! Congratulations.
Yeah, we made a point of recording, getting together every week. There are a few hiccups along the way, but we've been pretty consistent, which is, I'm impressed actually, considering how hectic our schedules are and how many responsibilities we have as, husbands and fathers, and we have careers and all that. This is really just a hobby for us.
Mhm.
We really throw our episodes together at the last minute. It's more of an excuse just to hang out than anything and have a good conversation and, have some laughs, smoke some weed.
Yeah, which we did 4 years ago, 3 years ago. We couldn't
Oh
have that
no.
conversation, so that was the whole point, was to continue that smoke room
Oh, look,
conversation.
Dave brought up your show here, Big Puff Podcast.
Don't mind me. I'm just promoting here.
I will say it is one of my favorite podcasts.
Yes, I love it.
Cool.
I love
Yeah.
the conversations you have and the different guests you have on. It's always a lot of fun and very informative and a good laugh for sure.
Yeah, you guys have a great vibe, and actually, my parents love your show as well. So I love it because sometimes they get to the episodes before I do, and they're like, "Oh, you should hear what Lex and Beach are talking about." So they're pretty based.
Cool. We're not against boomers at all.
That's awesome. So I know
Then-
you guys wanted to discuss some music psyops and a conspiracy theorist whose name is escaping me at the moment. But I wanted to ask you guys all a question. This is for everybody, because this recently was brought into my home, and I couldn't believe that I actually got one. But since summer is here and everybody's buying those summertime fruits, who here has gotten a fake watermelon? Anybody?
Not me.
No? Anybody? Anybody?
And
Maybe.
I just got watermelon yesterday.
What do you mean a fake watermelon?
The rubber watermelon.
Like I have bought 2 watermelons now this year, and both of them have been fucked right up. So the first one was like I'm not even
Come
kidding.
on.
It was so fucked up. So the first one had like these weird yellow spots, and it looked and felt like Jello. And then I got one a week later, and the next one was pure rubber. Like,
How many
you know how?
points were you in?
Sorry.
Points in were you when you were cutting this watermelon?
No, like
Yeah.
I can call my husband here too, and he can tell you the same thing. He's like, the second one was like even weirder because you know how like you cut watermelon, you know how like you can break it in half, you like a piece of it, right? And it just snaps, right? He's like trying to snap this fucking piece of watermelon, and it's like rubber. It's like struggling to snap. And then a few days later, I see a video like the one like similar to what Dave has pulled up here, where it's like people are showing their fucked up watermelons, and they weren't even showing just watermelons. They were showing like a banana. Someone like peeled a banana, and they're trying to like break.
That
the
was
banana.
a plantain.
Okay. Did you see
So-
the avocado one?
Yeah. So avocado, I was just going to say, like, I haven't received any rubber fruit, but I can tell you that if you freeze watermelon and if you freeze avocados, they do that. So I'm wondering, I don't know without seeing it for myself. And honestly, I just want to be clear. I'm like the biggest conspiracy theorist ever, so I would not put it past it being fake food. However, I do know if you freeze them, they go like they turn into like rubber. It's really weird.
So the first one that I had, my mom had come over, and my mom was the one that looked jello-y. Like it looked and felt like more like a jello. And my mom was the one that said, I feel like this watermelon was frozen. And that's kind of what it looks like. But the second one that we got looked and felt different. Like the first one was like a jello-y texture, and then the next one was like a rubbery texture. It was
Yeah,
fun.
I know. I think it depends on when they get frozen too. Like, because I know for sure if you freeze a watermelon and then you thaw it, it gets rubbery, and it looks almost like like the part of a watermelon that, like on the outside of it where it's green and then the lighter green, and what makes it look like a watermelon. That will flake off, and it almost looks like plastic.
Yeah, so I saw a video where one girl was like, she said she likes to wash her watermelon, and it was like peeling.
Who washes a watermelon?
I don't know, but I'm like, and it was peeling, and I'm like, why is it peeling?
This is why you grow your own food, everyone. This is why I planted 2 huge gardens this year.
Yeah,
I actually am growing my own watermelon.
That's the one that Dave has up now.
Yeah.
She was washing it, and it was
I'm on the
like,
fake watermelon ball right now.
Yeah, that's from freezing.
So, did you see the blueberries one?
No.
And I've froze blueberries before, and this never happened. But some lady said she was giving blueberries to her kids or whatever, and then they were complaining about the blueberries that they didn't like them. So she went to go throw it down, like the garbage disposal, and she heard this clinking or whatever, and she stopped it like something was stuck, and there was one blueberry that was like not getting broken up, and when she pulled it out of the disposal thingy or whatever, she said it felt like a silicone type material.
That's weird.
So I'm like, is this Bill Gates fucking fake food? Like, what's going on? Sorry, go ahead.
I've heard of a lot of counterfeit food out in the restaurant business. Yeah, so
Dave?
it doesn't surprise me.
Dave's in the restaurant business.
Yeah, mainly the high end stuff, fake olive oils, fake truffles, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
fake truffles for sure a thing.
How about fake calamari? You ever heard of that, Dave?
No.
Oh no. Oh no, I don't even want to know what that is because I've seen
No.
way too much calamari looking shit coming out of people's bodies recently.
I guess
Oh
you
my
could
God.
you could front some other undersea creature and chop it up in such a way to make it look like calamari. So that would make sense.
Yeah, or a
You
land
guys-
rectum.
Oh.
You guys have
Come
ruined a
on.
lot of shit for me over the last year.
It's just
But
the bar.
you're gonna start eating rabbit, right, Tammy?
Fuck no. Fuck no. And I used to love calamari until like just now.
Well,
Oh, well.
sorry. You can blame the puffers over there.
Bill Gates.
Or Bill Gates.
Yeah,
Whichever.
it's the APL stuff.
My whole thing is, if this
Right.
food is fake,
Appeal, yeah.
and Bill Gates or whoever is behind making this fake food, I'm looking at it and I'm like, did they think we wouldn't notice? Because I noticed.
Well,
Have you heard-
I mean, they convinced an entire planet almost to get an experimental injection that gives heart attacks, strokes, etc. Just kidding, YouTube. And so why wouldn't they? And people believed it. They fell for it. Like the vast majority of people fell for it. Why wouldn't they fall for fake food?
Right.
Because it's gross as soon as you try eating it.
Have you heard
But those
about
are the same people that are like, vegan food is so delicious, and I'm just going to eat like the Impossible Burger that has nothing to do with meat, but all of the chemicals.
That's true. You're
Have
not
you
wrong.
heard about the ecto milk that Gates is now creating? It's maggot
What?
milk.
Stop it.
Yep. It's like ground up maggots, and they're calling it ecto milk.
No.
Check it out, everyone. Yum yum.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
That's disgusting.
You
Eatsy
will eat
bugs.
the bugs. Yeah, you know it.
Oh my God. Why?
I think I read somewhere that Bill Gates is also involved in producing like a replacement for mother's milk.
Yes, he is.
Besides
Yeah.
baby formula, right? Something more tech, right? And he's calling it milk, like with a Q, I think, something like that.
It is.
Milk
Yeah.
with a Q.
Mhm.
Fuck.
Because why would we want to give children the start to their growth that they actually need? Let's just, pump them full of chemicals.
Oh my God.
Plus, how are you going to breastfeed a baby when you've separated the baby from the mother, which is their goal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
And easier to mind control.
Exactly.
Nutrition of breast milk.
Well, this is off to a good start.
So
Bio
back to
milk.
the watermelons. I want to go back to the watermelons.
All right, let's go back to the watermelon.
I'm joking. I have a question, seriously, though, about the watermelons. And this is maybe directed a little bit more at Tammy, because she's been going down the child trafficking, human trafficking rabbit hole for a while now. But most of us here have probably heard of, there's different like symbols and language code associated with child trafficking, right? Like panda eyes, that kind of thing. And there's avocado as well, I think, in child trafficking. The avocado means something because the gestation period is similar to the gestation period of a human, of a fetus, something like that, right? So when you see avocado somewhere, a celebrity is putting it in an Instagram post or something like that. It's maybe a reference to child trafficking. But then I was thinking maybe there's something about watermelons too. So watermelon is symbol for something. And why is it trending now? Right? Is this just some kind of like weird little game ritual that they're playing with people by making us talk about watermelons?
Interesting.
Oh, you know what? Honestly, you could be right. It's such a problem. I actually wouldn't doubt it. But like, you're right. It's all like everything is named after food for whatever reason. It's so messed up.
Right. Pizza and chicken,
hot dogs.
Hot dogs. Yeah. All of that.
Yeah.
For the sake of not getting on any more lists, I won't be looking up anything to do with this topic.
You're fine. I do it all the time.
Good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Tammy's totally fine. No one's following her in a black Civic.
Yeah. Well, that was a little bit weird for sure, but there's been no further incidents.
I'm sorry.
You're fine though.
What? Black Civic? What?
Yeah. So I can't remember what day it was. Saturday, maybe. I had gotten home from getting groceries and this car followed me down the street. It was a brand new black Honda Civic, completely blacked out. It could not see through the windows even a little bit. And it like parked at the end of my driveway. And I was too afraid to get out of the car. So I just like kind of sat there for a minute. And then finally I was like, well, if they were going to shoot me, this is what goes on in my head. Okay. So finally I'm like, well, if they were going to shoot me, they're not going to damage their own window, and their windows were up. So I'm like, I'm probably safe to get out. And so when I got out, they immediately like turned around and took off. It was very weird.
Maybe they thought you were someone else.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like maybe your car, they maybe they saw your car and they were like, oh, that's so and so, and followed you. And then when you got out, they were like, oh, that's not the person.
Yeah, but you've seen what I drive. It's pretty distinct.
Yeah.
Okay,
Pretty
but I'm sure it's
different.
not the only one out there.
No, but I can tell you I've only ever seen one.
All right. Well, then that's just weird.
Maybe they were casing your car.
Maybe they want to steal your car.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess
Actually,
that's possible too.
That's a good point.
But I did have another weird incident, like maybe a month and a half ago when I went to go get all of the plants for my garden. Where there was a guy following me around a garden center, and he had like an earpiece in. Somebody was able to actually send me a picture of what this earpiece looked like. And I can't remember what it was called, but it explained itself. Like it's supposedly a device that's for hearing that actually, I don't know, attaches to your brain somehow. Can't remember what it's called. Anyways, the person sent me that and I was like, yes, that's exactly what this guy had. But this guy was legit following me to the point that I was like, am I getting followed? Like I just said it out loud and then he left.
Oh, wow.
But it went on for like, I don't know, probably half an hour, 45 minutes. But I thought it was explained away by the little device thing. Like once I knew what that was, I was like, okay, well, whatever, it's fine.
Then there was the person in the coffee shop.
What the fuck?
Oh yeah. Okay, so there's been a few incidents.
But
that one I don't know. That was more so that one is I met my dad's friend at a coffee shop. he wanted the rundown on the Picton farm. I was talking to him about it, and then he was like, Tammy, we're going to get up and we're going to walk out of here. And I was like, what? And he's like, there is a woman behind you recording you.
What?
And I was
And
like,
then Picton got murdered.
yeah,
Stop.
not even joking.
Okay. Now.
So
okay,
we
guys.
got up, and then we went out into the parking lot, and he was like, Kate, just get into my car. So this was my dad's very best friend. My dad isn't alive anymore, for those that don't know that, but I still I meet up with his very best friend because he's kind of in this world with us, that he's very awake. And so we just got into his car and he drove around for a bit, and then we went to a park and sat there and talked.
Wow.
Anyways, moving along.
Lex Bch, are you sure you still want to keep going?
So Dave, don't be searching that shit, okay?
But other than that, everything's fine.
Yeah, other than that.
Tammy, if you think that there's this pattern forming, right, of people following you, or do you think that that's related to your online activities, like your Twitter account or your podcast, or both? Is that kind of
well, I mean, I'm pretty boring in real life, so day to day, I work a normal job, and that's it, right? But it would have to be related to, I guess, the stuff that I've been digging into. But the weird part is I don't I've been really focused on human trafficking because I want to use my following for good. And so I was trying to think of ways, instead of, the same things all the time. Is there something out there that needs a focus that people need to see? And so in diving into Picton and everything like that, I thought, okay, human trafficking, people really need to open their eyes to this. But I haven't been saying anything really that people couldn't find on their own if they searched.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see what the big deal is.
People don't want to search, so they don't want to believe it. What are you doing? You're a liar, Tammy.
Yeah, I guess. The only other thing I've really been doing is dot connecting, right? So if I see a pattern with something, as an example, the St. Lawrence River, and the human trafficking that happens down the St. Lawrence, those are things where I've started to connect the dots, and I've pointed it out, which other people, haven't really done. But I don't think, I've pulled some stuff from the dark web. That's primarily where I do most of my research, but I don't know. It's still just articles and, whatever I can find that I'm trying to pull bits and pieces of information from. So I don't think it's anything that I deserve to be unalived over or followed over.
Well, speaking of dot connecting, Big Puff actually connected some dots regarding the music industry that leads back to Picton times.
What?
Yes. So
Holy
Lex Bch, you
I
guys
see the Matrix 5 stuff.
No, they spoke about 4 specific Northwest bands that came out in the early 90s.
Oh yeah.
And I actually did look up a few of their so one of those bands was Pearl Jam, and my husband and I are huge Pearl Jam fans. And I did look up a couple of their songs from that time, and I was like,
Yeah.
I can see it. But why don't you guys kind of explain to Tammy what I'm talking about?
Oh, that whole grunge scene from the 90s, man. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up to that, right? So it kind of dates me a little bit. But yeah, in the 90s, early 90s, mid 90s, 4 bands came out of the Seattle area, right? Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Soundgarden, and Alice in Chains. And it wasn't by accident, right? I mean, they all got super big at that time, and a generation of kids trying to emulate them, right? But within their imagery and their fashion and their lyrics and their videos, all that kind of stuff, and given the region, it's kind of connected to the Picton Farms. All the lyrics from the songs kind of reveal material about the underground, mind control, pig farms, child trafficking, snuff movies, hunting parties, cannibal parties, all sorts of stuff. It's so wild, like rediscovering this material as an adult when you reveal the image after you get the puzzle pieces, right? Because all those lyrics are like within my subconscious. I just sang them, but didn't know what they meant. But if you go into those lyrics, it's insane what you could find. They refer to bones all the time. I mean, if you look at the covers of the albums, right? Nirvana.
So who references the pig farm?
Oh, geez. Soundgarden in Mind Riot. What's the lyric there?
Oh my
Do you remember
gosh.
that?
Not offhand, no.
Okay, got it somewhere. But yeah, there's so many references to pigs.
Dave, see if
dog.
you can pull up the lyrics for Mind Riot from Soundgarden.
Nice.
This is messed up because Ashley and I were literally having a conversation about this today, and I've been texting her like, holy shit faces, when you guys just brought this up, because she said this exact thing earlier today.
Nice. Yes. We're thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
we're-
well, I wonder, about the apathy that comes with the grunge scene, and how well that would kind of fit into if you're into like a seedier sort of psyop area. It would do well to kind of push out the idea that who the fuck cares, right? Like, just don't pay attention as much as you might, or you know what I mean? Like, grunge is very apathetic, and that was cool because kind of like the hair bands of the 80s, they were so done up and so, you know what I mean, like over the top. And so grunge seemed pretty cool because it was like, no, I don't care. I'm gonna wear some plaid and I'm not even gonna wash my hair, you know? And I feel like that could be kind of well, when you think about even what happened during the Picton murders and whatnot in the Vancouver area, and just that sort of seedy underbelly that took place there. And then you think about Seattle, and it was very a sort of a similar sort of feel there, right? So I don't know. I think there's a lot more going on in both of those places on purpose.
Hey, Dave. It was the day I tried to live, not Mind Riot.
Stay tuned.
Okay.
Well, Dave is looking for that. I wanted to tell everybody about a very strange tip that I got from somebody the other day, because I would love to hear all of your opinions on it.
Okay.
I don't think that, okay, and so this is based on, before I say this is based on everything that I have been looking into. I believe that there is, we'll say Picton pig farms, not necessarily pig farms though, but dumping grounds, if you will, in several places across Canada and the US that they use specifically, like whether it be one in each province, I don't know, but this is just kind of a theory that I have. And so I was given a tip the other day that apparently in Brandon, Manitoba, there has been an uptick in missing people. And the missing people are very similar to those that were going missing on the downtown east side of Vancouver, which was typically, prostitutes, sex workers. And so there was like a lab in Brandon, Manitoba that was doing cremations on the bodies and the autopsies. Well, they were shut down because people found out that they were cremating the bodies before the autopsies could be done.
Come on.
Yep.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't one or two. And these were people that, like I said, that maybe people wouldn't necessarily look for them because, they lead kind of a different kind of lifestyle. And I say it that way because I don't believe anybody's life is worth less. So I don't think there's anybody out there that is not worth looking for, no matter what their lifestyle is. A human is a human to me. And so this person that gave me this tip is, kind of near that area and has some skin in that game. So they did not want to start looking into it because they were scared and thought it was too close to home. So they sent it to me and said, hey, can you look into this? So I'm in the very beginning stages of it. This is the first time I've even spoken about it to anybody. But I can say that the missing persons is for sure a thing there. What's funny is everything to do with this morgue being shut down for those reasons is basically scrubbed. And that's what this person was telling me. Like they said, we were told at the beginning what the reason was, but you can't find that reason anywhere in the media, and no media outlet will touch it.
Wow.
So what's everybody's thoughts?
I'll let our guests go first.
Is there a burgeoning music scene in and around Brandon? Yeah, I don't know. Brandon, it's like in between Winnipeg and Regina. It's close to the American border. Seems like a good location for trafficking, I guess.
Lots of lakes, but underground.
There you go.
Yeah. There's also
Right?
A river
Yeah.
definitely runs through Brandon, I think, as
Right.
well.
even underground tunnels, the whole system,
Fuck yeah.
North
Mhm.
America. Then hey,
Yeah.
Well, have you guys done the correlation between the like there's the two maps that show the human trafficking where it's most prominent in the US, and then the tunnel systems in the US?
Oh yeah. I think Beach showed that to me.
I've seen
once.
it. Yeah. One goes to Montreal, goes through the Great Lakes, down to through Michigan and all that kind of stuff, and then goes through Thunder Bay.
Yeah.
Or Winnipeg maybe, and then across like diagonally across. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
you
seen
guys
it.
are really special up there in Montreal.
Hey, we world renowned. We got an underground city, right? So that's the front. That's how they hide it, right? So they show it to us, but not everything.
That's it. I have a theory about Montreal and human trafficking, and it involves the Olympic Stadium, the Big O.
Oh,
Right.
shit.
Only people really from Montreal will be aware of this. It was built for the 1976 Olympics, right? The Olympic Stadium, and it's a wild structure, right? It's like this alien beetle shaped building. It's beautiful to look at, really. It's super cool, but it's been a disaster architecturally. At least that's the story, anyway, right? It's always falling apart, and they still haven't paid it off all these years later, all these decades later, and they keep dumping millions and millions of dollars into it every single year. It's in the papers.
Oh, interesting.
And-
Mm.
Empty, really.
Yeah, unused for the most part, right?
Montreal
Unless,
Expos used to play there.
the Expos used to play there. And I always thought, it only occurred to me recently, I'm like, why are they still pumping money into that thing? Why have they not
Mm.
the ground? And to dovetail with what Tammy was saying earlier about mentioning the St. Lawrence River, the Big O is right beside the St. Lawrence River. And my theory is that the Olympic Stadium, the Big O, is like a station. It's like a massive underground human trafficking station, a hub. And that's why they can't that's why they keep it as is.
Wow.
Holy shit.
I have no proof
Some
of
bar talk.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I suspect.
Sounds very plausible.
That's it right there, right?
Bingo.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Well, they say things like actually the biggest event in the world for human trafficking is the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
And they're bringing it back to the Expos. I've heard theories that the Montreal Expos were heavily involved in human trafficking as well, and that sports in general, sports teams, because they're constantly traveling,
Yep.
right, and they have tons of equipment with them, and whatever. It's just a perfect cover for trafficking.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe it's time to expose them.
Hey.
See what I did there? Sorry about that.
You're telling us.
No, I'm not.
No, it's true. I've heard that a lot, and I don't think necessarily the players are in on it all the time, or even quite honestly, I don't know that they're in on it the vast majority of the time. I think there's some that are really high up there that would be, but I just think they use the whole scene as a means to traffic people.
Yeah, exactly.
And mind control people.
100%.
Yes.
Well, it's all like sports is all staged. It's bullshit. Everybody
So I
knows that.
heard at the beginning of the episode when I got shit for watching a soccer game.
Didn't you know that already, Suze?
Doesn't mean I still enjoy watching the game.
But to bounce off of that idea, right? The music scenes are staged as well, right? Like that's kind of the point that we're trying to make with the grunge scene, is that it wasn't organic, right? It was engineered, it was manufactured. And who would have been involved in the engineering of it? Well, some alphabet agencies, right?
Military.
Yep.
Military.
Yeah, they're all
right?
military kids. For some reason, they all have connections to the
Right.
military.
And the reason why we tie it to all the pig farm stuff is because the pig farm story, right? The what's his name again? Crichton.
Oh, Robert Picton.
Crichton. No one believes that story, right? He's the Lee Harvey Oswald of the Picton Farm story, right? So who is actually behind that, right? Who are the nefarious characters behind that? Well, I bet there's some overlap between the nefarious characters behind the Picton Farms and the nefarious characters behind the grunge scene. And that's why I think they must have overlapped. Because
That's really interesting.
they were close together geographically as well, right? And
Mhm.
that thing, and what Beach is trying to shine a light on is the lyrical content of the songs matches up with the idea of them being exposed to whatever was going on at the pig farms, or having to partake in it, or use your imagination, or read the lyrics. Rather, they tell you.
Yeah, look at the lyrics here that Dave brought up from that song.
These lyrics aren't corny. They're just weird, right? Like if you have a love song, it can be corny, right? Or it's been overused. But these are completely original lyrics that don't rhyme, right? And then they use all these words for apparently no reason, for a poetic license. Like it doesn't make sense if you don't connect the dots, right? It's kind of like ethereal. It's about a drug scene. It's about depression. Nah, it's about a lot more than that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I mean, if you don't already know, not you guys, but everybody listening, there was a direct line from Port Coquitlam right into Seattle with the rail port.
Interesting.
And then, of course, Port Coquitlam. There's a Vancouver seaport too, right? Which is huge, and they're bringing in stuff from all over the world there. So, very easy to move human beings. I think though the Picton farm was the dumping ground, so to speak. I hate to say it this way, but the
Chop
last
shop.
hurrah.
Yeah.
I guess you're gonna say chop shop. Sorry.
No.
Oh, fuck. So what about songs that maybe like are predictive programming for like other narratives?
Sorry, one sec. I was gonna add on the grunge scene also had your heroin prominent, and then like what's old is new again with like the fentanyl stuff that's going on right now.
Yeah.
You know,
Good one. Yeah, music scenes are definitely a good way to push drugs.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Good-
and
good.
even like Dave, I was thinking about your newest Skull and Bones that you just dropped, the video, and you get into the opium scene, and how that was like
the founders,
grunge.
the founders of that secret society and Yale, which like because they're interconnected, pretty much all funded on trading opium to China, and then even importing Chinese slave labor, just because they were better opium customers than the black slave labor that was here. So you can bring in slave labor at the same time and inherit customers. Like they brought in 100,000 slave laborers from China.
And don't they talk about that? Not they, but she, Whitney Webb, she talks about that a little bit in One Nation Under Blackmail, no?
Yeah, because the Skull and Bones, CIA, all that stuff connects. So, and then that goes to Epstein and so on and so on.
Damn.
Can I read you guys something about well, it's just from an article that I read on. I was trying to be a total nerd today and brush up on my homework because I like my homework.
Go for it.
But this is an article from grunge.com, and I didn't even know about this other band. But it says, although his name may not be as well known as grunge icons Kurt Cobain, Eddie Vedder, Chris Cornell, or Lane Staley, Mark Arm, born Mark Thomas McLaughlin, was one of the most influential figures in the 80s and 90s Northwest music scene. Singer for both the seminal Green River and Mudhoney, Arm's fingerprints are all over the story of grunge. He may have been the first musician to apply the term grunge to the Seattle music scene. In author Mark Yarm's 2011 book, Everybody Loves Our Town, An Oral History of Grunge, Pravda Records co-founder Marie Masco, which in itself, what? Pravda Records? Anyways, reveals the story behind ARM and the appellation that would define the genre. Anyways, we don't need to get into that, but basically, even his the name of his band, Green River, was named after a
Serial killer.
well-known
Yeah,
serial
yeah.
killer.
Yeah, Gary
Yeah.
Ridgway.
So it would be interesting. So somebody who happened to coin the term grunge and be like, "Oh, I'm cool, I'm hip, I'm in some bands. Hey, why don't we do this thing here?" And then I don't know, like, this is total speculation, but it makes me wonder if he's kind of one of the front runners of the, like the actual psyop to get that, sort of message out there and get people on board with it.
Yeah, Green River. Yeah, produced a lot of different bands, a lot of connections to Pearl Jam, right? As well. It's Jeff Ament, the bassist for Pearl Jam, was in Green River. Yeah, and lyrically, again, that stuff is revealed in like songs like "Polly" by Nirvana. You know that song?
I know that
Yeah.
song.
Right,
Mhm.
right. About torturing some female. But like, what's going on with that? It sounds like right, some snuff film lyrics.
Well,
Right.
and the Green River Killer also, like Gary Ridgway, was seen multiple times at the Picton farm and also had attacked women in Vancouver, by the way.
Right, yeah. So why not make money off of like a whole scene of this weird, depraved shit, and then put it out to the public? Hide it in lyrics.
Yeah, now I'm looking up the Polly lyrics because that was one of my favorites. I love Nirvana. I have a Nirvana crew neck sweater collection, and this just ruined everything for me.
I'm actually looking up the In the Pines lyrics too, because that was quite something too, by Nirvana.
Don't know though.
Well, and Kurt Cobain's death was incredibly sketchy.
100%. Yeah.
Oh, also known as Where Did You Sleep Last Night?
Love that song.
Little girl, don't lie to me.
What
Tell
amazing
me, where did you sleep last night?
They covered that song from someone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Mm.
Ashley.
Nice.
You're welcome, everyone.
Isn't that the Meat Puppets? What a name as well, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Meat
played
Puppets.
Yeah,
Ooh.
right?
They
And
were
then
on stage with them during that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and they covered a David
See?
Bowie song too. Like Bowie.
So everything's just connecting. So, makes me sick.
Ruined. Music is ruined for all of us.
It's just a new appreciation.
Yeah.
I'll still listen to it sometimes. It hasn't ruined it for me at all, right?
It's like sports. That's rigged, right? It's more fun to watch.
That's it. I'll still watch some sports sometimes for sure. It doesn't ruin it. For me. It's more like I gained a new appreciation for it, especially the lyrics, bro. I was saying this to Beach earlier, like, I was a teenager when I was listening to that stuff, and I felt the emotion of the lyrics. I remember feeling the emotions and loving the songs and knowing all the words, but not really understanding what they were about, But now through a different lens, they make sense. The way Beach kind of pulls them all together, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, now that you're saying it, I'm like looking through some of them and I'm like, oh shit. Like this one part of Polly, Polly says her back hurts. She's just as bored as me. She caught me off guard, amazes me the will of instinct. It almost sounds like whoever this was, like tried to escape.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit song. Wow.
Yeah.
There
And
was
there's
a couple of songs from Pearl Jam that I was like, I feel like they're singing maybe about Picton specifically. I think it was Even Flow.
Thoughts arrive like butterflies.
Yeah. And
K Monarch. Mind control.
Yeah.
the other one I think was Alive. Was it Alive?
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Mhm. I'm still alive.
Yeah.
It's quite a feat sometimes.
I was like, what? Craziness.
I'm just looking at Teen Spirit now because I'm like,
Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I'm like, do you think that's adrenochrome?
yeah. Oh
That is
no.
cute.
Yeah, a denial. Yeah, that's what he
Yeah.
just says at the end. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. A denial.
Oh no.
Quick question for our guests. Can you tell us about this guy?
Serge Monast.
About the same era as well.
Yeah,
time.
same era, mid 90s as well.
Oh,
He was
really?
yeah. He was a Quebec journalist and a poet, an award-winning poet. And then for decades, and then in the 90s, he got into conspiracies and published a bunch of books about conspiracies. And died under mysterious circumstances.
Of course he did.
Oh,
Yeah, I
and what were those circumstances?
So this was he died in 1996, and he had been arrested, taken to the police station, stayed there overnight, I think, then went home and died of a heart attack.
Gun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Heart attack gun.
Heart attack gun. Sorry. Good edit.
Heart attack gun. Wow.
Yeah, and he mentioned like in his books, and he had like a newsletter that he sent out to his followers at the time, like old school snail mail, that he felt like he was a hunted man, that the authorities were watching him and were out to get him. So he was aware that he was treading on thin ice, basically with the things that he was writing about. And he's best known for Project Bluebeam. Right? If everybody's heard of
Yes.
Bluebeam, but
Yes.
nobody's heard of Serge Monast. But it's his
Hmm.
yeah, and I think that was the last thing that he published before he was killed. One of the last ones.
It's all in French.
And that speaks to why he's kind of unknown, is that up until really recently, like within the last year, you couldn't find anything, almost nothing of his in English. It was all just in French. You could find Bluebeam in English, but that was about it. But I think in the last year or so, someone has used AI and has just translated them all really quick overnight.
Oh, wow.
So they're easy to access now. And they're short books too, all of his books. But when he takes this turn down the rabbit hole in the 90s, when you look at his body of work, he just started talking about the Illuminati and one world government, one world religion.
War against Christianity.
Yeah. United Nations, conspiracy against Christianity. Bluebeam. I read one recently called Unveiling. What's it called? On here, Unveiling the Conspiracy. It's the add-on that's interesting. Yeah, it's called Unveiling the Conspiracy, Plan for Chaos, and Marking of Humanity. Right, and so the guy was a poet, even in his titles. Right, Plan for Chaos. Right, like how do you plan chaos? But that's what, according to him, in one of these books, he talks about how they are trying to orchestrate chaos on a global scale so as to be able to bring in a one world government. It's more complicated than that, but plan for chaos, and then marking of humanity. So back in the 90s, he was talking about microchips and biochips and why they wanted to kind of give us all the mark of the beast, so to speak. And this book that I'm talking about now, Unveiling the Conspiracy, was written in 1995, so a year before he was killed. And he was talking about biochips, that they were on the verge of completing this technology with biochips that relies on proteins, right? Living proteins. And that word, that's a trigger word for me now. Every time I hear protein, I just rush back to COVID.
And he was anti-vax back then.
He was.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, and another one of his books, he has this whole section on this meningitis vaccine campaign in Quebec, I think in the 1980s, and he exposes it all, kind of like a precursor to COVID, like just at scale, basically within the laboratory of Quebec, as we like to put it, right? They ran this vaccine operation where they scared the whole population into fearing meningitis and believing that they needed to vaccinate their kids with it. And Monast, in that section, I think he even reveals that the Quebec government deliberately targeted nationalist sectors of the province, right, to deliberately like weaponize this vaccine against them. He's trying to target nationalists, believe it or not.
Oh wow. We were
That's
talking
fucking
about that with
crazy.
Jamie Soleil as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Not that specifically, but just with the COVID vaccine, that she thought that they were targeting, mostly
Red states?
Alberta. Yeah.
Yeah.
In red states, right?
And red
Red
states.
states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Conservative provinces and red states. Yeah. That's crazy.
So yeah, Serge Monas is he's a character, man, a character, right? And he alludes in his books that he was kind of given this information from insiders, right? Giving him documents, that type of thing.
But
And
he never like mentions who any of these insiders are in his
no,
books.
no, you have to read carefully. He'll hint at it, right? And sometimes he'll deliberately leave out the names of people, but he'll give you enough clues that if you search, you can figure it out, right? So he was kind of like, it's very readable, right? It's very accessible, but that the poet in him kind of comes out in the literature where he's kind of clever and playful a little bit too.
Yeah. Little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Easter eggs.
So I have twice now been asked if I want to donate to AIDS research at different stores. And I think, funny if you guys, if they hadn't have murdered all the all the people specializing in AIDS research on one airplane, then maybe we'd be farther along, right now. Like, I don't know if you guys know about that, but like not too long ago, there was a whole bunch of
It disappeared. Right?
yeah, basically all the people who were speaking up against what AIDS actually was.
I'm sorry, what?
Now they're gone.
Can you elaborate on what the fuck you're talking about?
Well, I don't.
I'm Jon Snow today.
Yeah, well, does anyone else know more about it? Because I don't know the whole story, but basically there was like a whole bunch of
the
AIDS
Malaysia plane
researchers.
crash.
Yeah.
Oh, MH370?
Fuck.
Are you talking about MH370
I don't know.
in 2014?
Yes, I think so. Yes. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
plane that
Yes.
2014,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, there's what's the company? Shit. I went down this rabbit hole a while ago. There's a bunch of patents.
Is it in this article you got up, Dave?
No, that's the HIV stuff. The patents, I think it was like semiconductor patents. Wasn't
Yes. Yeah, it was semiconductor patents. So I didn't hear anything about I don't know, is that the same plane crash though? Because there's been a couple from Malaysia that have crashed.
Of course there have.
Yeah. So the one MH370 that went missing without a trace happened in 2014. And that had to do with semiconductor, which has a bunch of ties to Rothschilds, of course, and different things. But I don't know that was the one that would
No, that might not be the same one. Yeah. Yeah.
But I know there was another one. Hang on, let me see.
While you're thinking of that, just one little funny story here. Because I've been actively applying for work, right? I applied for a fucking job that basically I'm trying to infiltrate one of the organizations. But anyways, I applied for a job that's associated with a worldwide organization. And in the job description, it was like travel is required. And guess where they're going in, I think, 2025? Malaysia.
Wuhan? Oh.
No, Malaysia.
Oh.
And I'm like, I'm going to be sick for that trip if I get hired.
It was MH17.
What do you mean?
MH17 had the AIDS
It
researchers
was.
on it.
It really was? Oh shit.
Yeah. It wasn't. So there was two in 2014. MH370, which disappeared without a trace.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on.
So MH17 just crashed. Like they found the plane though.
Yeah. So MH370 crashed on March 8th, 2014, and MH17 crashed on July 17th, 2014. So a few months from each other.
Wow.
And so there was a ton of AIDS researchers on MH17. Early reports suggest that at least 100 delegates had been killed. The figure has now been revised to 6. They were named by the IAS as Pim de Kooijer, Lucy Van Mans, Maria Adriana de Schutter, Glenn Thomas, Joe Lang, and his partner Jacqueline Van Tongeren.
Wow. So, Ash, did you donate?
No.
But AIDS is fake, right? Isn't it?
Oh, here we go.
Fauci.
I mean,
Yeah, the
that's,
Fauci, right?
yeah, the Fauci outie, exactly.
Back then,
Yeah.
springboarded off of that
hmm
into COVID.
AIDS.
Crowning achievement.
Yeah.
Coronavirus.
AIDS is to HIV what COVID is to the coronavirus.
Interesting.
Yes.
Mhm.
But they have been. Oh, what I'm about to say is purely speculation. Blah
You're
blah
gonna get
blah
us-
blah blah for entertainment purposes only.
You're going to get us kicked off again, aren't you?
I love Magic Johnson. He's got the hits. All right.
Maybe you
There
can
is-
bleep. Can you bleep certain words?
There is absolutely no proof at all, if you were to look, like, dig deep on this, that black seed oil has been used to cure AIDS in other countries for many, many years. But that is not true.
No,
So
not
don't
at all.
look into
Yeah.
that.
Not true, everybody.
Let's
Not
just
Because
say
it's
there are
complete and
no
utter bull-
studies done on it, which is probably actually true because they
Mhm.
won't do them.
And black seed oil does not help your immune system whatsoever. It is the most awful natural cure you could ever take.
Oh, good to know. I will not touch that black seed oil. Thank you. On another note, have you guys ever heard of oil pulling?
Yes.
Okay, so I just recently found out about it. I'm so excited to start oil pulling. Is anybody else
Welcome.
here know what oil pulling is?
Yep, definitely. What?
What? It's like to help your oral health. And it can, like, they say it could treat that. When you Google it, it'll be like, oh, there's not enough research, blah, 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 because, they don't want us to use natural things. And it probably doesn't work, everybody. Probably doesn't work at all. But, feel free to try it if you want. But yeah, you like swoosh around coconut oil for 5 minutes or whatever. And it's supposed to like trap all the, bad bacteria and this and that. And then you spit it out.
The amount of oil you start with in your mouth definitely multiplies.
Yeah. Well, it mixes with your saliva. That's
Well, yeah, it's ridiculous by the end. I'll just say that.
yeah. But I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I'm so gonna start doing this.
Get in here with a question for Big Puff. What do you guys think is going to happen with the U.S. election? Keep Biden, get rid of Biden, war before it starts,
Oh,
and so on.
that's a good question.
One guy with a mask is going to win for sure.
Good luck, Beach.
Oh shit! Did you guys all watch the debate?
No.
Saw clips.
Yeah, I only saw a few clips. I didn't watch the whole thing. Ash, I think you watched it, didn't you?
Yeah, I started to, and then I fell asleep.
Yeah, like Biden.
I shit myself, and then I fell asleep like Biden. Yeah, I didn't really
Oh
shit
my
myself,
God.
but I did fall asleep.
I think they will definitely swap out Biden, right? But simply for entertainment purposes. When you're going to have Trump on stage for, 24/7 for the next few months, you got to give him a good dance partner. Biden, the character of Biden as he's scripted, as he's written, it doesn't mesh well with Trump. Trump needs someone else. He needs someone who's with it, not someone who is being portrayed as, senile, right? He needs a foil. Biden is no
Mhm.
foil. So they're going to bring in someone more entertaining. And they're just trying to figure out who at this point, or maybe they've already selected. Who knows?
A lot of people are saying Michelle Obama, but I'm thinking like if they do bring her in, she's just gonna have to prove the whole time she doesn't have a dick.
Big Mike. Big Mike.
That's gonna be a
Oh, that
challenge.
can't work.
Yeah.
That's a challenge for sure.
I think it might be Newsom.
Yeah, I think so.
Why do you think that, Ash?
Just seems like he's ramping up, just like how Mark Carney is now ramping up to take over for Trudeau. I think they're just I don't know, just the way that the media is kind of portraying them as well. It just seems like they're getting more airtime now, let's say.
Yeah. American Psycho and Canadian Psycho,
Yeah.
Yeah.
basically.
That
Yeah.
sounds
Yep.
like a fun movie. Speaking of Trudeau, everybody was all like gung ho. Is he going to step down? Is he going to step down after they lost that seat in Toronto? We all know that man's never going to step down.
I was really hoping.
Yeah, I was like, sure. I got my hopes up slightly, but I'm like, nah, he's got too much of an ego to do that. It's not going to happen.
Well, to tie that back to Serge Monast, right? I'm going to speak on his behalf. I think I know what he would say in response to that, because he sees it through the lens of that everything they do is designed to bring in a one world government.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And in order to bring in a one world government, you have to dissolve all the national governments around the world. How do you do that? Right? How do you have to get all of these populations to completely lose faith in the institution itself of government? How do you do that? Get them to hate the figurehead, right? Everybody. So who's more hated in the history of Canada than Trudeau? The most hated figure, right? They are milking up that hatred. It's by design, I think, to drive us mad, to make us angry, to demand a replacement.
Interesting.
And so I think he'll be in power. He'll be on stage as long as he's useful. And as soon as he's not, and not a moment later, they'll yank him and they'll put in Jagmeet Singh.
Oh, God.
Oh, fuck.
Oh boy.
So
Jack
I'm not trained.
saying. They're not going to put in Pierre. Pierre's like the same fucking wing from the same bird.
Bold prediction.
So, Lex Bch, I have a question. What do you guys think? Do you think that in the grand scheme of things, it sure seems to me like the assholes are winning here?
Yeah, no shit.
What do you guys think? Do you think we're are enough? It sounds like you guys have been awake for quite a while. Like, it must be pretty frustrating for you to have been kind of harping on these things for such a long time that you must feel like maybe it's never going to happen. But how do you feel? Do you think that, we're getting closer? Do you think we can, can the good guys win or what's happening?
It's a great question.
Or are we waiting for the aliens to come get us? Like, which one is it? Which one is it?
Yeah, it is a good question. I go back and forth, but I'm far more white pilled these days than I was.
Ooh, that's nice to hear.
Yeah. I would say, if anything, things are moving in a better direction. I think there are a number of, signs that point that way. I feel like they're panicking a little bit. I feel like it's all so overboard because they're just hitting the gas.
Yeah.
Because the brake is just not an option. So might as well just drive it and run it into the ground. Let's see what happens. Roll the dice. That's what it feels like to me. And things are falling apart, right? Think about that. What happened to the bird flu?
Yes.
What happened to that?
Same thing that happened to monkeypox.
All of it, right? Yeah. So either all of these little things are failing, or that's the strategy itself, which is
right.
that there never is a big bang, right? There's just build up, and then it falls flat over and over and over. Maybe that's a technique in and of itself. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's an interesting concept.
But
I'm here wondering, like, why haven't they moved forward with like a climate lockdown, shit like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's feeding into my point, right? Is that they've been
Yeah.
dangling it over us for a while, but it's not coming, is it? It's not happening.
Mhm.
Right? What happened? Remember, it was supposed to be we were starting forest fire season in Canada.
Yeah.
Right? We're teeing it up, and nothing. They're
Even yesterday, I wondered why did they give us a chemtrail free day? Like, I'm like, are you fucking with me? Like, why is the sky so blue? Like I almost don't want it now because I'm like, what are you doing?
Where's my chemtrails?
No, you're right. Ash, I thought the same thing. Absolutely.
You
back.
did it, yeah.
The
It seems
chemtrail pilots
weird.
took Canada Day off. That's what
Oh,
happened.
there you go.
That's all. That's all it was.
They have to pay them time and a half. So.
Yeah, they're like, you guys can stay home today. It's fine. It's fine.
And look at the art that they're producing, right? Speaking of they, right? I mean, that's who we were talking about, right? Is them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
The art. Look at the art that's being produced. It's trash. It's complete trash, from the music to the TV to the movies.
Yeah.
It's total garbage. Why? Because they suck.
Yeah,
They're failing.
it's fake.
If they were real supervillains, the art would be better.
Yes.
Mm.
This is a good point. Very good point.
Wait, you don't like the Kardashians? It's the pinnacle of American art.
Yeah, right.
No. No thanks. Oh man. Well, it's been a fun chat with you guys. Anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, I mean, we're up for anything.
Tammy? Ash?
Well, I always just like hearing whatever Lex and Beach have to say because I'm like absorbing everything right now. So tell me anything you want me to know because I love going down rabbit holes. So
Yes.
Any updates on the clones?
On the clones.
Clone whistleblowers?
I read the lyrics to an Alice Cooper song today, and the title of the song was Clones. And I think-
Stop. Really?
Yeah, and one of the main lines was something like, "We're all clones."
oh come on.
Wow.
Alice in Wonderland.
There you go.
Cooper.
Wow.
Bill Cooper.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it's funny. Like, I think that there are a lot more portals, to go through when it comes to the music scene. Like, we just scratched the surface of the grunge stuff, right? Like, Beach has got like pages and pages of notes in front of him, right?
I was looking at some other stuff from like let's say like a different narrative that they want to like convince you of something, right? And I just went down like the feminism scene, and it brought me back to the 90s too. So I don't know if you guys remember from our feminist episode, like the early 90s was the start of the third wave. And then I was like, well, where were some bands and that I liked, around that time? And like one of them was No Doubt. And No
Oh.
Doubt came out with a song in 1992 called Just a Girl. And if you, read through those lyrics, it's very much like trying to convince the girls and the women to strive for this, these positions of power and stuff, and not fall into the norm of what like society was saying women should be, right? And I was like, huh, interesting.
Is that what it's about, though?
I don't know. You tell me.
Glenn is a little come see, come side,
Right.
Is it about Trooney stuff? I'm just a girl.
MTF.
It could be so many things. Exactly, right?
Free
Could
Martin.
be all of it. Yeah.
Free Martin.
Oh, Free Martin. Good
Yeah.
one. That's a rabbit hole right there. The Free Martins goes all the way back to at least Brave New World. Free Martins in Brave New World. But I was just reminded of something. There was I think Tammy, you put a tweet out recently about those daycare child trap. What was that called in LA in the 1980s? There was a daycare scandal involving satanic ritual abuse or something.
Oh, yeah.
McMartin.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's another rabbit hole. Go and look at a picture of her, the main villain in that story. McMartin, I think was her name. And then look at a picture.
Virginia
Can't remember.
or
Like
Peggy.
Peggy, I guess, the older looking one,
Yep.
right? Look at a picture of her, and then look at a picture of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh my
Yes.
god. Oh my god. Stop.
Peggy,
Yes,
what's
I
the last
noticed
name for
this.
Peggy?
McMartin.
McMartin. Look it up, Dave.
And it's somebody else said that too. Hang on. I found the tweet and I'm looking to see the yes, oh my gosh. Tinanostrat said she looks like Mrs. Doubtfire in the above photo. And 100% she does.
Oh, hold on. This McMartin shit was in the 80s, you said?
I think so.
Mhm.
Hello.
But there's hang on,
there's another
wait.
pic-
I'm gonna send this to you
Oh, I'm sorry to
because
frighten you,
this
dear. I must look like a
picture is
yeti
like
in this get-up.
it's so Mrs. Doubtfire. It's wild.
And when did Mrs. Doubtfire come out again?
In the
in the
90s,
90s again, right?
of course.
Fucking 90s. But I
you did a
love
great
the
one.
90s.
They off
Send
Robin
it to the group chat.
Good
Yeah.
one. I forget on which episode, but we did a mini breakdown of Mrs. Doubtfire. Go back and watch it, and it is creepy AF.
Yeah, well, we talked about it when I was on your podcast. You know,
Oh, that must be when it was.
well, I just quickly brought it up because of the, just like the different predictive programming. So I don't know if you went
think
down
we've
more
done
of a rabbit hole, but
Yeah,
it's
well,
crazy though.
Well, it's Mrs. Doubtfire. At the end of the movie, it's Robin Williams dressed as a woman on TV hosting a children's television program.
Yes.
The predictive programming of that from the 90s is just off the wall.
Yep.
When you
Yes.
consider where we are now culturally,
They told
Yep.
us.
Big
My
time.
kids literally stumbled across that exact style of show from two teachers from Toronto dressed as women. But like clearly they're men because they had like beards and everything. They're like drag queens and they were doing a children's show.
wow.
So entertaining.
Yeah. So entertaining. It was funny because I asked my kids, I'm like, are those women or men? They're like, men. I'm like, how do you know? Well, they got a beard. I'm like, you are correct. It's funny. They don't watch the show anymore, guys. So, you know. They stumbled across it and I was like, okay, we're stopping this shit right now.
It's crazy, how you have to monitor what your kids consume when it comes to pop
Yes.
culture. You have to be like a hawk, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Certain things my kids will bring to me. Like, I don't know if you, I mentioned it in one of our episodes. We were talking about like video games and stuff because there's a game that they play on their tablets and like just randomly in the middle of the game, there's like this pride flag and like they came running to me like, look, mom, look, what, like, why is this here? Like, it's just so random in the middle of the game. Then I'm like, I wonder why that's there.
Yeah. I remember there was some show that my daughter was watching. This is like a couple years ago. It was about like rainbow ponies or something. It wasn't My Little Pony though. It was like a modern one. And she's watching it on the television. I'm sitting on the couch beside her reading a book, and I kind of look up casually, and I see these cartoon bunnies, and they're wearing surgical masks. Right?
Stop.
So, no, for real. So I turn to my daughter. I'm like, "Why are the bunnies wearing masks?" And she says, "Because there's a." What did she say now?
They were driving.
Yeah,
They were driving.
there was something called, I think it was like Bunny 19 or Bunny Flu.
Oh,
or something
come on.
like
Stop
that.
it. Stop.
For
Are you
real.
fucking kidding me?
Rainbow Rangers. Rainbow Rangers.
Oh my God, I know that show.
Yeah. And not only did the bunnies have to wear masks, but they had to stay 6 hops apart.
Oh my gosh.
Are you
Yeah.
joking me right now?
Was it
I-
bunny pox?
Bunny Pox? That
Good
was
one.
Bunny 19.
Yeah. So,
Oh my
we switched to
God.
Looney Tunes real quick.
Yeah, Looney Tunes.
Had
Can't go
to-
wrong with that shit.
Yeah. Trying to murder a roadrunner.
Stick with the safe stuff.
Good old hunting some rabbits, eh, Tammy?
Ew.
Oh God.
I remember you guys talking about that in one of your podcast episodes.
Probably.
Money thing.
The
Yeah.
Bunny 19.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the
So
programming
messed up.
starts early, right? They hit them right with the kids shows, and they get it at school too, right? It's everywhere.
That's
Inundated
crazy.
by it.
My kids used to watch that show. I think my kids are a little bit older than yours.
Yeah.
Lex. So maybe that's why they didn't come across this Bunny 19 episode.
That's wild.
That's fucking crazy. Well, on that note, fuck, damn, ruining our kids' entertainment. For fuck's sakes, take your kids outside, everybody. Take them outside. Don't let them watch anything. I think that's a good end, guys.
Right
I would,
on.
I would like to know. Anybody got any final thoughts? Tammy?
I know what the next rabbit hole is that I'll be going down. Now I'm going back because I still have all my old CDs from the 90s.
Frosh, baby.
I thought you were going to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, so I'll be going back and looking at all the lyrics. I was already looking at Glycerin by Bush.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'll be doing.
Gavin was pretty special too. Special interests as well.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean? Explain yourself.
Explain yourself.
Super freaky deaky. He has a sordid past and properly present.
Oh, and
Really?
wasn't he married to MK
Well, he was
Gwen. Yeah.
Gwen.
Gwen,
Of
yeah.
Married to Gwen,
Why-
yeah.
How'd they break up? What?
Well, what do you mean? I used to love him. I used to love him.
Why did they break up?
Nice cheekbones.
He's more mysterious now. This is a good thing.
Did you just say nice cheekbones? I know where you're going with this. Are you serious?
EGI, baby. EGI.
How is he not mind controlled?
Right. Paired up with Stefani as well. Right?
Yeah, selected.
Sorry, Tammy. They ruined it for you.
I know. You guys have ruined so much for me over the last year. In the best way, but like some days I'm like sometimes I curse in my car when I'm driving because I have a lot of long drives for work. So that's when I listen to you guys and I'm like, for fuck's sakes.
What is glycerin? Why is he thinking about that? Nice cheekbones though.
Or Stone Temple Pilots. We didn't talk about them, right? They're like grunge adjacent, right? They're grunge-ish.
Yeah.
And just the name STP, that's an acronym for a mind control drug, like a psychedelic / amphetamine.
Yeah, he was in your Deadpool too, right, Scott?
You're
Right?
Deadpool. Oh,
Yep.
Well, what about Finger 11 in the 11 Finger Lakes?
oh shit.
There you go.
Nice.
Oh,
And
wow.
they used to be called the Rainbow Butt Monkeys, which I just find very strange.
Yeah. Butthole surfers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ew, yeah, now that I think about it.
I got to do a deep dive on some Linkin Park songs because I was a big Linkin Park fan.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got
Well,
nothing.
my final thoughts are everything's fucked.
We already knew that.
Yeah, that's all I've got for today.
Dave, Ash,
Ladies first.
did
what I'll say is that I find it very curious that our generation, in my opinion, we've gone through, I think, probably, how do I know? But in my opinion, I think we've gone through some of the most psyops through, the music industry, through Hollywood, through the advertising on TV. And so we've been inundated with all of this messaging. But at the same time, we also grew up before cell phones and we grew up before computers. And so we have this ability to know the world before all of the insanity that, say, like the kids nowadays are facing. And so I think we're uniquely positioned to speak out against the stuff that we're now noticing as we look back, because we know what it's like to be able to, like make our own fun without having a phone or a computer. And I do think that the messaging that can be, uploaded and downloaded from these devices is, can be pretty dangerous if kids are unaware. And so we need to be like pretty strong voices for the kids who don't know. It just seems so harmless, a cell phone. Give a kid a cell phone and press a few buttons. Oh, look at that! Knows how to turn on the phone now. Cool. So anyways, I just think that we definitely need to get back to getting kids outside and making their own fun and learning how to be without the devices, because I think that's almost part of the saving grace of some of us who are waking up now is that we knew what it was like before.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
My turn.
That's my final thought. Yep.
Your turn.
The gentleman mentioned how Serge Monast's core concept message was the concept of one world government. So, which I agree with too. So, if you know the end goal, as the process unfolds in front of us, just pay attention to what's going on, because if that's the end goal, you should not be surprised with what's going on, and that should aid us in our fight against evil.
Yeah. Good
Mhm.
point. Very good point.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. Lex and Beach, do you have any final thoughts? And can you also tell our listeners where they can find your podcast?
Well, thanks for having us on. It was a blast. We were looking forward to it. Looking forward to our next convo, however that happens. Where can they find us? I know we're hard to find. We are so shadow banned.
Join the fucking club.
You should stay away from us. It's a death touch.
So thanks.
Yeah. We do our best on Twitter and Instagram at Big Puff Podcast. And then you can find our podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker, Substack, and a whole bunch of others.
Awesome. Tammy. Oh, yes. We will definitely be doing it again. Hopefully in person. But Tammy, you're up next, my friend. What are we talking about next week?
Yeah. Next week, we have a special guest. We have Zach Schmidt from the Schmidt House podcast coming on.
Oh, nice.
So nothing in particular that we're going to be talking about. It's just going to be like another freestyle episode. But super excited to have Zach coming on.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. Lex Bch, thank you so much for being here. It's always an absolute pleasure speaking to you both. I've had the opportunity to speak to you a few times and always love it. Like I said, hopefully in person. I'm hoping the broadcast can take a road trip out to you guys soon and smoke it to the filter. But also, come back and chat with us anytime. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. It was awesome.
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Sweet.
Thanks.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed our freestyle sesh today, and we'll catch you all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Peace.
Bye.